Okay, back again. Here we go, featuring strawberry. So as I was saying, strawberry is the featured plant today. It's also called the strawberry full moon. We had a full moon that peaked this morning. And the effects of the full moon can be felt at least 24 hours prior and 24 hours after. As we know, the moon does affect the tides in the ocean, and therefore, as the moon affects water, it affects our bodies as well, because we are made up of over 75% water, especially when we're hydrated. So this is I'll be transparent with you, my strawberry patch, and one of my jobs today here at Sacred Earth Essentials at the farm, the small growing farm, is to weed this patch of strawberries and to go ahead and lay down some, I'm making a homemade compost mixture with aged horse manure that I have from my neighbors from last year. So one of our videos coming up is going to be about horse manure and how we can utilize those products to add naturally to our soil. So the strawberry moon is also in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a fire sign. So you may have had very fiery emotions yesterday and this morning. I know that it was also a super full moon, which means that it is one of the moons closest to the earth, moon cycles closest to the earth. So the effects are more profound. And for me and a lot of other people I know, particularly women, can end up having migraines during the full moon and eclipses, and especially during super full moons. So I had a horrible migraine yesterday, and I'm very thankful that it is gone with the use of just staying hydrated. And I should have made some feverfew tea. So we've got this beautiful combination of fiery emotions amplified by the lucky Jupiter in Aries, another fire sign, and our sun is in Gemini. So this energy, despite having a migraine, is actually energy that one could say would be wonderful for celebrating and for fanning the flames of love, fanning the flames of passion for what you do, fanning the flames of justice for humanity and the earth, and fanning the flames of saving soil. And so we need to have that spark in life. We need that spark. It's what helps us to love each other. That spark is what makes the world go round, and that spark helps us to combat depression and to help other people combat depression. So thank you all, little lights throughout the world, the beaming sparks of brightness and goodness, so that all of us don't lose our spark. There's a little wild strawberry over here that is, so I'll just see the difference. And so I'm going to talk a bit about you can tell that these strawberries aren't what they should be because I didn't take care of the soil. So as one of the themes here is about saving soil and regenerating soil and souls, you get the pleasure of viewing my regenerative adventure, my regenerative journey here. So the idea of saving soil is not something new. People have been talking about saving the soil and going organic and not using pesticides and synthetic fertilizers for a long time. And one of the reasons that I moved to Vermont many years ago was to be able to live closer to nature and to learn about plant medicine and about organic farming and community. And so worked very hard for a number of years to get to where I am today. And again, none of that work was alone. Even in my loneliest moments, I've had people who love and support me, and at the absolute, and always had Liam and Yoda here, and of course, the Most High. So I'm going to read to you a bit from one of the books that I utilized and studied from years ago during a graduate program at Goddard College. It's called Ecopsychology, Restoring the Earth and Healing the Mind. Restoring Habitats, Communities, and Souls by Ilan Shapiro. Crucial to living in harmony with the natural world is the idea of reciprocity, of giving back to the earth for all that it has provided. Reciprocity is integral to the rituals and customs of all native peoples, but it runs directly counter to notions of private ownership and the land and natural resources. In the highly urbanized context in which most of us live, how is it possible to give back? How can this gesture become part of our own healing? And so this article goes on to talk about that, which reminds me of the increasing need for community-based living. I know housing is a huge crisis here in Vermont, and that the singular, split-level ranch-styled 50s homes, those communities, I know where we grew up in the suburb, we always had neighbors and everything. Now, if you could create small suburban communities made with small villages, made with, a community center, for example, using sustainable methods and materials, maybe, just even creating different villages based on themes and people's needs and interests, and then having these community gardens where each housing village, instead of calling them projects, calling them villages or farms, they're able to have a system. If we find the systems that work and be able to incorporate those systems, I'm sure there is a way through education and other means to be able to create this for people, because no matter what walk of life you come from, when we help to make the world a better place, again, selfish altruism, it helps you as well. And the reason that I often go to that is because I've found that often people are more motivated to do something if it's going to be a win-win on both sides. Inner city children collect native grass seed in Chicago vacant lots for prairie restoration. Tireless tree planters turn wastelands into woodlands in desertified regions of Tunisia and Kenya. Churches and businesses adopt streams and beaches as aspects of their community participation programs. Ranchers, loggers, and back to the land bioregionalists in Northern California and the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont whoop, whoop, discover that their economic and community well-being depends on how well they can work together to restore the health of a watershed. Children in hundreds of Japanese schools cry, "Come back, salmon, come back!" as they release salmon fry they have raised into depleted rivers. Central American farmers rediscover and plant a rich mix of forgotten pre-colonial crops, restoring a measure of species diversity in their localities. These glimpses reveal aspects of a blossoming grassroots movement for environmental restoration. Restoration projects may be urban or rural, professional or volunteer, on wildlands or agricultural lands, in strip-mined areas or in backyards. By mimicking the life-sustaining patterns inherent in a place, they aim to bring back the vitality and diversity that the community living there needs in order to thrive. Through environmental restoration, people are coming back to earth with their bodies, cleaning up and decontaminating, clearing out and planting, building erosion control structures and sapling protectors, and weeding, mulching, and monitoring. They are learning through their hands and their hearts to identify with the pain and the healing of the ecosystems that sustain them. So, here we go. My little part of that saves soil. So I felt the need for a moment of silence after that heavy passage there. And I know many people, I don't know anyone who hasn't struggled at one point in their life, emotionally, or maybe, even financially, socially, in relationships. And again, one of the benefits of nature therapy is that it allows for you to practice meditative breathing methods, being in nature, enjoying the sounds and the smell of nature, oxygenating yourself, getting the terpenes from the forest. It helps you to calm down and to connect and to life and to enjoy the little things and to remember that the earth is worthy of respect and reverence, and you are too, and that we are an extension of the planet, whether we like it or not. Regardless, out of the strawberries, Yoda, regardless of what religion you believe or not believe, we still all live on the same planet, and we're still all made of the same dirt, the same water, air, fire, stardust, you name it. We're all made of the same thing. And just like we know that what we give to plants and how we tend to plants affects their quality of fruits, this same exact principle, basic principle, applies to us as people. And it also affects genetics. So it doesn't matter what genetic stock you may hail from. If you're not taking care of your body, if you're going through tons of trauma, if you don't have the nutrition that you need, it does affect genetics. So there is the nature and the nurture, and they are intertwined, just as DNA is intertwined. So if this garden right here was the strawberry patch of my mind, what would you say about it? I mean, yes, it's feeding the bees here with these beautiful orange. I know them as Indian paintbrush, but I know there's another name for them as well. And so if these weeds, if these other plants here that are sucking up the nutrients that the strawberries could be using, if these are negative thoughts, right? So when we use growth mindset, sometimes it's not just about adding in positive thoughts. Sometimes it's also about weeding out the thoughts, the negative thoughts that are sucking the life out of your fruits, right? So I believe that, again, using nature as a metaphor, as a way of helping us to not only take care of the soil, but to improve our own quality of lives, and therefore others, because just like, a fruit, if it's a healthier fruit is going to nourish someone better than an unhealthy fruit. So we must make ourselves into healthy fruits. So speaking of healthy fruits, these strawberries here, a little bit of nutritional information about strawberries. Again, we've got the wild strawberries. It's interesting to me that this year that these wild strawberries have fruited first. So strawberries, oh my god, so good. So tiny, but so good. That fresh strawberry taste. I was looking up information about the terpenes, and you can buy, the bottled terpenes, but nothing quite beats a fresh wild strawberry. Wild strawberries are originally from this region, Turtle Island, North America, and they're packed full of vitamin C, manganese, other flavonoids, potassium, B6, vitamin E, phosphorus, antioxidants. And so another interesting concept that I wanted to bring up was not only do I need to weed out these negative thoughts and add nutrients, add positive thoughts to the soil, but I can also incorporate companion planting to help benefit the strawberries and to add some diversity to my garden. And so some of the things that are good to companion plant with strawberries include onions and garlics, shallots, and chives, because they serve as a natural pesticide. You can also grow peas, beans, thyme, dill, sage, coriander, beets, spinach, lettuce, nasturtiums, and marigolds, including calendula, are also beneficial plants to plant with strawberries. And some things you do not. No bueno, no planta estas plantas con las fresas. En España, la palabra fresa, que significa strawberry, también significa una persona no siempre muy amable, pero yo no soy experta en la cultura de España, solo conozco un poquito. Entonces, so don't plant strawberries with kale, cabbage, cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts. If you're testing the pH of the soil, it should be around 5.3. And so a lot of people I've heard about the debate about why not to eat organic strawberries. Why not to eat non-organic strawberries. So I did a little bit of research again and to find some more detailed information on what that is all about. And your average, those are so good. See, that's what the richness of life is all about. And then being able to share that with others. So we take care of our gardens, we take care of who we are, so that we can then share both the spiritual, emotional, social, physical fruits of ourselves and our labors with other people. And in Latin, the name of strawberry, fragus, they're known as being earthly delights, and Fragaria vesca and Fragaria moscata were the two of the original ones. And then they were taken from the Americas to Europe, and the two varieties, the Fragaria virginia and Fragaria chiloensis, which was from Chile, those were taken to France, and they were combined to make what we have today, common strawberries that we would eat from the grocery store, not the wild ones, Fragus ananasa. And so that is the combination of the sweet fruit with the size. And so what I found was that in the non-organic strawberries, there is an average of 45 pesticides that are found in those strawberries. And those pesticides can cause neurological difficulties for people. They're neurotoxins. They can add to cancer levels. So really, when we're looking at human rights, it's actually taking care of the soil is a human rights issue, because if we're poisoning the soil, we're poisoning people. If we're poisoning the soil and poisoning people, then we're causing lots of different disorders, both physical and mental. And so again, taking care of the soil and feeding people healthily, those are human rights issues as well. And the earth is capable of doing that when we take care of the earth, whether we want to do it in a spiritual sense or not. And these pesticides that you can find in store-bought non-organic fruit can also cause febrile neurosis, for example, in infants. And so some of the pesticides, I didn't list them all because that was a lot, are tetrahydrophylamide, pyraclostrobin, captan, phenhexamide, pyramethanol, boscalid, fludeoxonil, myclobutanol, and carbendazim. Those are just a few. So when you're getting when your list of pesticides and chemicals in your fruit is longer than the list of nutrients and beneficial aspects, then we should probably be looking at our food, because at that point our food has become poison instead of earthly delights, instead of nutrition, instead of the fruits of the earth's labor, or God's labor, or goddess's labor, or great spirit, whatever have you. And so we have this beautiful opportunity to actually be happy and healthy on our planet. And that is one of the reasons why things like meditation are so beneficial, and having community practices and supporting each other. Just like how the ecosystem and the biosphere, just like how everything, all this life on this planet, life and death, works together in this very synergistic, orchestral kind of symphony, masterpiece way. And that when we flow with that dance, and when we see that truth for what it is, and not saying that we will eradicate, sadness or any of those things, but when we help educate people on how to celebrate life and appreciate life and give thanks and give back to themselves and take care of themselves, we do create peace on earth by that, because most of the problems, most of the strife that we have on earth is usually over resources or women. Is that how it goes? So first and foremost, the resources. And so if everybody has their resources and their mental health is good, and we're not competing and we're not focused on materialistic gains, that doesn't mean we can't have craft. That doesn't mean there shouldn't be art. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be things that are worth more in exchange than others. There still needs to be freedom of economy, freedom of market. And so that's what saving soil, one other thing that saving soil means to me, is freedom and celebration and life, and tending the gardens of our minds, bodies, and souls for the mutual intertwined, like a beautiful braid, benefit that is life. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me on my regenerative journey of life, love, and gardening. Don't forget, go and plant some seeds of love and be a blessing. I hope. Amen. So it is. Bye now. Mwah.